Welcome back to another Explainer, folks. Today, we're not just looking at some standard run-of-the-mill scientific theory. No, we're diving into a highly dramatic, totally cinematic, and literally earth-shattering scenario. Imagine this. You wake up tomorrow, you look out your window, and you realize the fundamental rules of our universe have just flipped completely upside down. We're going to break down the explosive reality of what would happen if Earth suddenly slammed on the brakes and reversed its rotation. One morning, the sun doesn't rise in the east. It rises in the west, and nothing will ever be the same again. Just let that sink in for a second. It's the ultimate impossible reality, right? A terrifying cosmic shift that would instantly rewrite the story of life on Earth. But what if we took this totally impossible premise and actually applied real-world physics to it?
Okay, let's dive into this. The core mystery we're looking at isn't just about the sky looking a bit weird or the sun taking a different path. We are talking about the physical, absolutely catastrophic consequences of suddenly stopping a massive, spinning celestial body dead in its tracks. What would actually happen to this giant rock we live on if it just slammed on the brakes and threw it into reverse?
Phase 1. Sudden global chaos. So it all comes down to this concept of momentum reversal. Right now, Earth is spinning eastward at just breakneck speeds. If it suddenly slammed on the brakes to reverse direction, the sheer amount of kinetic energy trying to dissipate would be, frankly, unimaginable. Basically, anything not bolted directly to the bedrock would just keep moving eastward at the Earth's previous rotation speed. It's like the ultimate car crash physics. So yeah, so much for your morning commute.
This momentum reversal triggers a chain of immediate, catastrophic domino effects. First up, the atmosphere. It wouldn't stop with the Earth, which means we'd get supersonic winds. Second, the oceans. Carrying all that massive inertia, they would just heave forward into continent-swallowing megatsunamis. And third, the sudden breaking of the crust would trigger global earthquakes, literally tearing tectonic plates apart in mere seconds.
Try to imagine winds clocking in at over 1,000 miles per hour, because that is exactly what would begin scouring the Earth's surface near the equator. To put that into perspective, the highest wind speed ever recorded during a severe weather event is roughly 250 miles per hour. So at 1,000, these supersonic gales would literally sweep away entire forests, obliterate buildings, and completely wipe the surface clean. Phase 2, disruption of time and life. Think about how animals get around. Normal avian navigation relies heavily on the Earth's magnetic field and the position of the sun. Birds, whales, insects, their biological hardware is perfectly calibrated to an eastward spinning Earth. If you scramble the magnetic field and reverse the sun, well, you get instant total biological disorientation. Entire migration patterns and circadian rhythms would just collapse in a single day. And what about us, human society? Our entire global infrastructure of time is built around the sun rising in the east. Right now, global clocks are synchronized, and our daily schedules are nice and predictable. But in a reversed state, time zones become instantly meaningless. The very concepts of morning, noon, and night are totally flipped. It would be like the ultimate jet lag, throwing international communication, global markets, and even just your daily schedule into utter chaos. Which brings us to Phase 3, the 24-hour warning.
Just imagine this ticking clock nightmare scenario. First, we have scientific detection. Astrophysicists notice an impossible deceleration, and they have exactly 24 hours to somehow explain it to a totally unprepared public. Then comes step 2, global panic upon announcement. We're talking desperate broadcasts and the absolute breakdown of civil order. And finally, futile evacuations. I mean, where do you possibly evacuate to when the entire surface of the planet is about to get hit with supersonic winds and mega tsunamis? The clock just runs out.
Phase 4, the magnetic fallout. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the long-term planetary consequence. Earth's core dynamo is disrupted. See, our planet generates its protective magnetic shield using swirling liquid iron in its outer core, which is driven largely by the planet's rotation. If you violently stop and reverse that rotation, you completely destabilize that molten core. The internal dynamo effectively shuts down, or at best goes unpredictably haywire. Which brings us to this incredibly grim question. Without our magnetic shield, what happens to the atmosphere? That magnetic field is practically the only thing protecting us from harsh, deadly solar winds and cosmic radiation. Without it acting as our shield, solar radiation would begin to directly bombard the planet. Slowly but surely, it would strip away our atmosphere and expose any surviving life on the surface to lethal levels of radiation. Given enough time, the planet would effectively be sterilized.
Phase 5: Doomsday Myths and Reality.
It's crazy, but human history actually eerily aligns with this modern science. Across completely distinct cultures, a westward sunrise has always been the ultimate sign of the end times. Look at antiquity. Major prophecies foretold a reversed sun. Fast forward to the Middle Ages, and scholars cited it as an absolute sign of final judgment. And today, present-day science actually confirms the apocalyptic reality of those old myths. If the sun rose in the west, it wouldn't just be symbolic. The physics prove it literally means the end of the world. So, given the supersonic winds, the mega tsunamis, the failing magnetic shield, and that crushing momentum reversal, could humanity survive the ultimate reset? It is the absolute destruction of every single physical law we rely on to exist. It really leaves us with this terrifying realization. Our entire reality is balanced on the fragile, continuous spin of the rock beneath our feet. If you enjoyed diving into the terrifying physics of this scenario with me today on This Explainer, make sure to subscribe to AR Factverse for more mind-blowing science content. Hit that like button, and I want you to comment below, how would you spend your final 24 hours if the Earth's rotation actually started slowing down? Keep focusing on the facts, keep asking questions, and I'll catch you on the next Explainer.